Appreciate you joining us. So welcome, we appreciate you joining us. You're joining us for an episode of BA on the Streets with Cathy Warren. I'm Steph Hawkins from the Bluegrass chapter in Kentucky, Michigan. Cathy is from the Southeast Michigan chapter in Michigan. And we have Aaron, who's also from the Bluegrass chapter. And we're meeting up on the street in Northville, Michigan, which is close to Cathy. And we're just talking a little bit about the weather and how it's getting cooler here. And so we thought we'd, before it starts to snow at some point in the near future, we'd just spend a little bit of time outdoors and have a chat. And that's what BAs on the Streets is all about. It's having a conversation with fellow BAs or BAs that are new to the profession or want to be, or BAs that have been in the profession for a long time. We like to make these conversations, the BAs on the Streets, very conversational. So we're not going to be doing any type of BA techniques or exercises or anything like that. We're just going to have a nice conversation and talk with each other. And hopefully you can join us in too. If anything you'd like to join, we'd be happy to have join our conversation. And this series, we try to do this on a quarterly basis. Sometimes it's a little bit longer than that. And it really is just to get to know one another in a more informal session. And we're always looking for BAs to talk to. So if you know anyone that would like to join us in a conversation, just let us know. And especially if you're newer to the profession, we'd like to be able to have a conversation with you and try to help you along with your career and guide you to resources that you may or may not know of. So Cathy is one of my good friends from BA. We do some other activities together. And so I just thought, we do our activities together. We talk about BA techniques that are about building a community. We have this time where in each of our sessions where we talk about recipes, because we, do like to eat and do like our recipes, have food. And food brings a lot of people together. But what I came to realize is that while I know Cathy, other people probably do not. And I wanted everyone to get to know her and enjoy getting to know her as much as I have. So Cathy, hopefully that did not embarrass you in any way, shape, or form.
Very nice of you. No, you're very kind. You've always been very, very sweet from the first time I met you.
Oh, well, thank you. Little tears here. So it's interesting when you talk about meeting each other. I am, or was, or still am, a member of the Southeast Michigan chapter. And during the activities, we worked with George, who is the president. And that's how I really started to get to know you, was working on different chapter meetings and all of that. And it's always interesting to see people that want to help with chapter meetings and pull things together and kind of get out of their comfort level in doing new things that, it's kind of like sometimes a little bit nerve-wracking.
Yes.
So, but during that time, I don't think we ever really talked about like your BA background, like what drew you into being a BA or what interests you. I just saw all the amazing things that you've done to really help everyone. But what about your background?
Well, thanks, Steph. I started a long time ago. I'll date myself with some of the things I talk about. Prior to everyone jumping on, we had a fun conversation about card readers. So that kind of gives you a perspective of where I started my journey. I went through school in Dayton, Ohio, Wright State University, with a computer science degree. And at that time, there was no such thing as a business analyst. I didn't even go through school as a systems analyst. I was going through school as just a straight computer science degree. Programming, didn't quite know what I wanted to do. Landed my first job because of an awesome gentleman retired from the Air Force who was sitting next to me in my last class as a senior. He needed help. We were just doing a PC class, learning Lotus, again, dating myself. He needed help. I offered to help. He was very appreciative of my help and said, hey, you're looking for a job. You need to talk to my old boss. He just started a defense contracting company. Wow. And voila. Again, it's not what you know, it's kind of who you know that sometimes opens a door. And that was my first exposure. So I started working with a small defense contractor in the Dayton, Ohio area. We did requirements definition projects for the Department of Defense. Went from Air Force oriented projects to ended my 10 years with them doing tri-service. We were trying to get the Air Force, Navy, and Army to get their logistics coordinated together in one system.
Wow.
Again, I was on 3 of those, and let's just say they're still not there. So a part is a part is a part, unless
Okay.
you're an Air Force part, an Army part, and a Navy part. Lots of similarities, excellent exposure, but that was really where I got my teeth in for doing, again, a business analyst, even though we weren't called business analysts at the time. My focus at those projects were requirements definition phase. So doing process modeling, data modeling, absolutely fell in love with data modeling, both in school and in the projects. But that was kind of where I got my my toes dipped in the pond, if you will, and jumped forward a few years. When I met you, I was trying to get back into the business analyst world, and found not only Bridging the Gap, which is what first started getting me back into seeing if I could ride the bike again,
Right.
but found the Southeast Michigan chapter of IIBA. So we got into doing meetings as in person way back when, before COVID land. And then that was where I met you, Steph. And what I loved about how George had kind of pulled you in, because you had did the fun thing of saying yes when asked a question. Would you would you mind hosting a chapter meeting? And of course you said yes. So you had this easy way, just like everybody is seeing today, of making everybody feel welcome, keeping the program going, you know, and oh, by the way, helping us learn along the way. So when your life got busy and you kind of tossed the baton my way, I thought it was a one-time deal. And that's why I said yes. I did not know that the one time was going to turn into, I don't know, 2022.
There you go.
So, but that was too fun. So in between these 2 business analyst ventures that I've been on, my current work took me to the nonprofit world. So I work with a small nonprofit in Michigan. We do organ donation awareness. So just like a BA, you wear many hats in the nonprofit world. But what I've loved is kind of that whole construct of how you think about a project and a problem and how you approach people. Really doesn't matter if you're in a position that's called a business analyst, but once you know that routine, if you will, that journey, because you know the results that you'll get if you do certain things, it's applied, you know, in multiple places. And I definitely have applied it in my current work now.
Oh, definitely. And for those of you that may not know Cathy in that extent, so for the Southeast Michigan chapter, she's secretary. You do, I don't know all your roles because they seem to be so many, run BA meetings, run PM meetings, all types of things. But so she really helps the chapter out in that way. And then I tossed the baton to her to go and help the Bluegrass chapter because they asked me to come on and help with community events. So it's kind of like spreading the wealth. And then what we do is we come together, like I said, quarterly for our community events, as well as other types of things, because, you know, one of the things about you, Cathy, is you do have a passion to help people, which is probably why you work for a nonprofit. And so we appreciate that about you. And then I just want to pull a little thread on your background on the requirements and in talking about that in the realization that, you know, like when you were a BA, a hidden BA back in the day when we didn't really call them that at that time, or if you did, it was like a smaller group, you know, it really does take skills and techniques to really be able to understand requirements and elicitation and use techniques and really to pull things together and be able to understand and, you know, articulate that back to the stakeholders to get an understanding and move forward. And so one of the things that I've noticed is that there's a lot of people that do BA work that are not called a BA, right? The business analyst. Like I have only one time in my career actually held that title, but that was the title of my role. But the rest of my time, whether I was doing project management with a little bit of BA and all that other type of things, you naturally use these techniques. So what you did, and you went with bridging the gap, you said, okay, I need to understand, I need to know more about it. Do I still have those skills? Do I still like those skills? But then the next thing you did is you found your community with IIBA, right?
Mhm. Right.
And once you found that community, it was like a treasure box. You know, the world opened up to resources. I think we have a question here. Erin, okay, do we have a question?
I like Aaron. Aaron, yes. As far as the Marines, we're not leaving the Marines out, but I tell you, the tri-service project was tough enough.
Oh,
Putting 4 in there, I think would have been above and beyond any of our capabilities. But perhaps the Marines were smart enough to understand at the beginning that maybe this just
that's
a
hilarious.
little tough.
Oh,
tough
I
nut
was
to
just
crack.
teasing about that.
I know. Trust me, we had heard that before.
We've
And
had-
of course, it's about cookies.
I see Tejas has his hand up. Did you want to ask a question?
Hey, Tejas, how are you?
Hi guys.
Nice.
So just I missed part of that. Aaron, thank you so much for chiming in there. The area of awareness for for this meeting is where exactly is it? Is it more on breadth of non-functional requirements? Because the thing is, like, there was essentially a huge change that were happening in my domain, and I'm in the investment banking domain, and
Okay.
that change. And so basically, so we had, like, for a huge surge of, not essentially a surge of business analysts come through, business analysis requirements come through that were all, completely just BAs, senior BAs with financial modeling, financial data, that type of experience that they required. So the skill set for business analysts, aside from knowing the Babcock, they're asking for, in the next version of Babcock, when will the next version be released and stuff. So I was wondering if if we could discuss some of those things, because
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are amazing. I was loving the original the first 5 minutes a lot. So just thank you so much for this meeting and everything. Thank you.
Yep. Well, we're happy to, pivot in any direction, because that's really what these
Absolutely.
conversations about, right? BAs hanging out on the street, just having chit chat and talking about, what's important and what's relevant. And so you were asking about the role and whether functional or non-functional requirements, and where maybe the direction that it's headed, and when the new Babcock is coming out.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not sure when that, and maybe Aaron, when that one's coming out. Do you know when the next version of it? But
No, I don't. I haven't heard anything from IIBA, or even if
Okay.
they're working on it.
Okay, but there's ongoing different meetings with them, and at a regional level, we can definitely ask that question and try to get that out there. But when you're talking about, like, where the direction is going from a BA, I think it depends on the market that you're in. It depends on the skill set of what you have or where you want to go, but it also depends too on, your likes, dislikes, in some of the certifications that you go after, right? More and more people are getting certified by IIBA, and certainly I'm not a paid sponsor of IIBA to tell you to go get a certification, but they truly are helpful, and not just from the obtaining it, but back to Cathy's point, one of her first jobs was because she met people while she was engaging in a work activity. One of the benefits of finding IIBA or finding chapters or attending events like this is you meet people and start to learn more about the resources that are available, the community that is out there that can help you to understand, what you should maybe target, what certifications and all of that. There is an IIBA mentoring program that's out there, so you could literally find a mentor to help you answer those questions. There's study groups, there's chapter meetings. So while I can't specifically tell you what to do next, we can definitely help you. And Erin is a great resource at this, as well as the chapters, to help you find what you need in that mentoring classes. There's a lot of literature and articles that are out there that are really doing the surveys that are telling people, what's happening in the IIBA space, where there's more money to be made, if that's of an interest, and all of that. So the resources are pretty deep to help you answer that question specifically to you. So hopefully that was helpful.
That was really helpful. So
Okay.
like part of they were asking like essentially it was like, okay, so there's the market's changing, how quickly are you innovating? Would you be able to innovate at a speed that is which is you would say that the market of the business analyst changing overall, and I found a lot of differing methodologies on how we should do, like how business analysts structure the structure today, what type of methodologies they use, etc. So so that's what I was like, and I found both IIBA Bluegrass to have fantastic meetings and stuff. So
Right.
so that was my thought process and my brainstorming of ideas behind that to be very useful. So yeah, definitely express a lot of gratitude towards the Bluegrass chapter, and what you've how much value they've added to added to the industry as well. So, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we've got your contact information, Erin, right? And we can come back and have some conversations with you and talk to you about it. And part of what you're talking about is, one of our favorite things that Cathy and I love to talk about is business techniques, right? We read the books, we go to certification classes and all that, but it's like, really, what is it about that business analysis work that really is satisfying, right? Because, you've got to have an interest and you got to want to be able to do it. There's a lot of techniques out there, a lot of techniques that use at various points in the process. People use a lot of different tools. There's a lot more tools online like Miro and other types of things versus the old school Excel spreadsheet for requirements gathering. So as technology changes, the techniques change along with them, not really the inputs and outputs of what you're trying to achieve, but really maybe the manner in which you're doing them, right? You might be doing the requirements in a Miro board where you're doing a jam session versus old school Excel spreadsheet. So maybe when they're asking you that question, it's not just about the skill set in techniques and understanding when to use them, but also the newer tools that are out there that will help you to really give people that newer technology or different feel for how people do things. And I know it does make a difference in people's interactions and how you bring people into meetings. And Cathy, what do you think about that? I mean, what do you think is satisfying about like some of the techniques in the business analysis work that you've been doing or that we've been doing together as chapters?
Sure. Yeah. And just to kind of go off of where Tejas was going as well. And by the way, Tejas is awesome. He's very interested. He's very involved. I'm doing a Stepniw with Tejas, and we're pulling him into to Southeast Michigan. But he's got lots of time and energy and all kinds of interests. So I know he'll benefit a lot of different chapters.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the things that Tejas, just to go off kind of your comment, and then Steph to circle around to your question, is that I've really liked about this community is as things change and grow and new tools come out or new certifications come out, however it be, they're all addressing a need. And trying to not second guess, but kind of look in that crystal ball and see what's coming up in the future that we all want to get better understanding on, is really where I see the chapter meetings and the chapters themselves and all the various sessions you can go on now that we have that chapter portal and you can see what everybody is doing. We brought in a gentleman that was involved with Salesforce, and actually the BA certification you can get on Salesforce. Well, again, with my exposure, I have not had an exposure to Salesforce, but when I heard, I knew about it and had dabbled with some webinars on it to understand it better, but I didn't have any practical experience on it. And when we heard about this BA certification, well, the light bulbs just go off. I'm like, well, that makes sense. Let's go down that path and see where that goes. So that's what I love about these chapter meetings and about what IIBA offers us. It allows you to get that exposure to things that you have not perhaps had personal or professional experience with. And one of the things that kind of highlighted up with us this at one of the sessions was, and again, it's a technique I do not have professional experience with, but the concept of it and the application of it, I've got pieces of it. So I'm excited to learn more, is the business model canvas. I think it's an outstanding technique to kind of really lay the foundation, up front, and understand all the different aspects of what you are tackling in your given project. So I was, very, very thrilled when we could do an extension on that, Steph, with the collaboration that that we're doing. Because again, that's what I like about this. I mean, again, it's kind of like riding a bike. Right, like I said, I've loved kind of doing data models. Data models are data models are data models. It's not going to change if you don't have the data set up correctly, and in a way that you can identify it and pull what you need. It really doesn't matter how pretty that screen looks. If the data behind it doesn't work, it's not going to work. So I've always, loved that data model, but that jumps me down into the weeds. And what I love about this business model canvas is it really pulls you up and it has you look at the whole landscape. So I love that, and I love that if you don't mind me sharing,
Absolutely,
I'll pass it to you with the social event that Bluegrass and the Southeast Michigan have been doing since last December. I think we're approaching a whole year of doing these things now.
We'll have to have an anniversary event. Yes,
I know. We actually chose the business model canvas as the focus for that December meeting. So that one will be one where we will get into not necessarily all the weeds about it, but we'll really use that as kind of our focus point, for that session. So,
right.
And doing those things, it's a great way. Again, it's expanding your community. And just like I met a nice gentleman next to me, my last class of my senior year in college, that took me to my profession. You never know who you're going to meet in these meetings, and what their interests are and what their questions are and what opportunities they have, and that's what's absolutely wonderful about this community.
Right. I couldn't agree more. And you were mentioning about the Salesforce BA with Stuart Edel.
Yes.
And
that's fabulous.
And there are so many opportunities out there to learn something new, or to learn how to apply a technique or refine it, or learn a new tool, and all of that, as well as once again meeting new people. And I think for me, like the business analysis work really isn't so much about the work, because I love all of the techniques, but it really is the people that you come along the way and get to know, and that you can either help or they can help you, or just building that community, because it's not, I guess, how do I say it? It's like having the ability to have resources at hand that can guide you with answering those questions about where's the market going, or what technique should I know, or what IIB certification program is worth its salt, right? And they've got some new ones out there with the product owner one, right?
Right.
So
right.
And so, you know, there's opportunities. You don't have to get a certification. You can take classes or not, but even still learn the skill set without doing all of that.
Right. Right.
So we're nearing time, and Cathy, I could talk to you for forever. But what are your thoughts about if we ask if anybody has any other questions about the things that we've been discussing? Do you does anybody have any questions for Cathy or any questions for me? And it's okay if you don't.
And I do appreciate that Erin's popping in your events in the chat. So
Okay, great.
the upscale your BA skills with Salesforce certification. Now I apologize. I don't know your schedule completely. Is that one of your chapter meetings or is that a separate session, Erin?
That'll be a separate session.
Fantastic.
And it's more like a webinar and that. It's so that is Stuart Edel.
Okay.
He's
He's
going to tell us about
wonderful
the
speaker.
Salesforce
Right.
BA
Great.
certification. It's on Thursday, October 27th at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Excellent. So before we wrap up, and if there are no questions, Cathy and I always have to talk about recipes, and because that's what we love. And so each event we have new recipes. So
Ooh, I have a new one.
You have a new one?
I have a new one. Super easy.
Okay, let's hear it.
Really yummy. You know, at one of our previous ones, I told you about the pineapple angel food cake, which is, again, extremely easy to make. This is an extension on it, but rather than making a cake, you're making cookies, which who could go wrong with making angel food cookie? Super easy. You take an angel food cake mix right off the shelf, half a cup of water, about a cup of mini chocolate chips, a little bit of vanilla, stir it up, plop them teaspoonfuls on a cookie sheet at 350 for about 10-11 minutes. They are to die for.
It sounds so good. That sounds really good. Okay.
Super, and I love easy. So
okay.
That's my latest.
She grabbed my attention with that half cup of mini.
Half cup of water. I know.
Right.
Everybody's got a half cup of water.
Everybody wants a half cup of water.
Yes.
So all right. So now the game is on, because now I'm gonna have to come up with some other recipes. So for our December event,
we have to find more for December.
That you mentioned earlier about the business canvas. And Erin, did you put that event in the chat in case anybody would like to attend? And in that particular event for the December 14th, we take it a little bit different direction than we take the BA on the Street. We truly use it as building a community, and we find a BA technique, which is going to be the business canvas model, and we find a tool, and we do a hands-on virtual session with all of the attendees. So you're asked to participate and join in, and we've had a battle of the dogs in the past, where we did hot dog toppings, talking about personas. So we try to find different ways to take a technique and tools and make it a fun social event. And we always talk about recipes and food, and the outcome ends up being not only did you make some new friends, you learned a new technique, a tool, and you go away with some awesome recipes. And I tell you what, people that come back from a session, they talk about the recipes and bring more in. So it's kind of it's a little contagious. So
we're gonna have to publish our recipe book.
We will. There we go. All right. So before we wrap up, do we have any questions? And if not, we definitely appreciate you attending. And Cathy, it's been great hanging out with you. BA's on the Street. This time it's in Northville, Michigan. Sadly, the server has not come by. I'm not sure what's going on here, but we'll get that solved soon.
Lower that. Someday we'll actually get you back up here in Northville. But this has been a true pleasure. Thank you guys for even considering me for this. It's always a joy with doing anything with you guys.
Well, thanks.
Look forward to doing many.
Likewise. And we look forward to making more friends here. And hey, hi, you had something? Hands raised. Little hand raised.
Are you there, Tejas? Oh, Maria's got her hand up.
Okay,
Maria? Can you unmute, Maria?
Yeah. Hi, how are you doing?
great.
Good.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to know, my daughter right now is studying at a Canadian university. She's studying business and business management. And right now she's looking for an internship in business analysis. So what's the best way for her to get into the field?
Erin, do you want to answer that? This is one of your areas of expertise.
Where do you get that?
A little bit of time spent with you.
Well, there's no one way to do it in that. I mean, you know, she's certainly captain of her own career and how she wants to go about that. You know, certainly find a mentor in the field that you want to be in, and you know, that's doing the kind of things that you want to do, and talk with them and ask them how they got started and advice from them as to how to get started. I think a little bit of it is also, you know, where you're at, you know, may be a little different about how you get into the field and that. So there's all kinds of advice out there about writing your resume into, you know, to draw out the experience that you have in the area, even though your job description or your job title was not that. Like Steph was saying earlier, you know, she was doing business analysis work, and I can say the same thing. You know, I did business analysis work for about 10 years, and it wasn't full time. It wasn't 100% part of my job and that. But ever before I got the business analyst job title and that. So, but you can write your resume drawing out things like writing requirements, working with stakeholders, and things of that nature. So.
And two, that you could also, I'm sorry to jump in there, you could also, if you have a local chapter where people are in the geographic area, that you could try to connect with them, because they would understand the businesses that maybe they talk to as sponsors or people within that chapter that know somebody that can help with it. And so that way you have very close by geographic assistance to help, you know, help find somebody to help you there from like the mentoring and all of that. And I don't know if you have because we're so global now with all of our chapters, I don't know if you have any chapters nearby that could also help as well.
Yeah, thank you. My daughter right now is in Weston, so it's in London, Ontario, so in Canada. So somebody gave me Keith Alice. She recently gave me the information for that. So my daughter is thinking about joining that, as well as the Toronto chapter where we live. We live close by near Toronto, so we are definitely considering that. I think that will help her. And also, I'm telling her to write, right? If she starts writing the articles or whatever she learns in her own language and her own, you know, with her own thoughts, I think that will be an excellent way for her to learn more by leaps and bounds, and also get her, it will help her get into the field much faster, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. The more she can get exposure out there, the more she learns to interact with people and put herself out there in that way. And two, it's, you know, we are a global community, right? I mean, Erin, myself, Cathy, probably all of you are in different geographic locations. We come together, and that doesn't mean that globally we can't help each other. But sometimes when you're starting out, it's a little bit easier if it's where you're a little bit closer for that. But certainly, certainly our chapters are always willing to help other people be mentored or in classes or guide them. So please keep in touch with us, and we want to help you the best that we can.
Yeah, sure. You guys always do that. Yeah, thank you very much for being such a wonderful resource for people who are interested in business analysis and who are already doing business analysis. Thank you very much.
And I think just to chime in on part of what Erin was saying too, like I've been in the nonprofit sector for 19 years, and trying to jump back into the business analyst world, you know, I have not had a business analyst title, well, honestly, ever. I was a systems analyst way back when. But the type of work that I did can be described on my resume and during interview conversations as the work that a BA would do. And so chiming in off what Erin was saying, if you can, have your daughter kind of look at the courses she's taken and the group projects she's worked on, and kind of craft those discussions using BA terminology,
Yes.
stakeholders and facilitation and, requirements analysis and, all that kind of stuff. So if she can pull out kind of the buzzwords, then, a person looking for a BA intern will go, well, she knows what she's talking about and she can fit in. So that would be, I definitely agree with, where Erin was saying, that would be a great thing for her to kind of look at her resume and kind of make it talk BA talk.
Right.
Yes.
And especially if she's writing the articles, right?
Yes.
And you could collaborate with other BAs. So it's not just her writing it. She could have somebody help collaborate that's in the BA space.
Yes.
And help drive her information out there and share it with people and all of that. So you could do some collaboration like that as well. And that would also not only help mentor, instill confidence, but really just, help propel it out there.
Yes, definitely. That's a good idea as well. Thank you very much.
Good luck to her.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
For almost like 7 minutes, I was talking. I was trying to talk, and I was having issues. And then you guys were talking about recipes that made me hungry. And then I had a suggestion from Maria, Maria's daughter, about attending training, attending business analyst training. There's courses for business analyst training, that automatically land you a job with a job guarantee program. And definitely I want to recommend that. And then I was on mute, so I was like, oh man, what's going on? And then this is and this is BAs on the street with Cathy. So this is like once in a lifetime type opportunities. This is a really fun meeting, and I'm missing out. And I was like, come on, and then the audio wouldn't say anything. And so Aaron was like, Aaron the Masters, Aaron the Master. He was like enjoying the recipes, and I'm just listening to the recipes. I'm like, oh my god, this is making me hungry. And I couldn't talk, so that was really frustrating. But now I can talk. So thank you so much.
Technology.
I love this meeting. Thank you. Thank you, Cathy, for the meeting. There was I had a question slash some request, like a request for help with with Miro.
Okay. All right. Are you thinking you want a group session or a smaller session to understand it? Are you throwing out a challenge for us to have a session where we do Miro again and with a topic? Is that what you want, or you want some smaller individual help with it?
I know Stephanie you showed the Miro lab. Arrange Scrum. You have to draw 1 or 2 diagrams a day in the BA world. So so the joint session, that's good.
Okay. Yeah.
Hello?
Well, we know how to get a hold of you. So we will definitely figure out a way to do it. And Cathy, we may even bring in George, because he's got a lot of really good material that we could maybe, you're helping us put our creative hats on. We're going to come up with something that's going to be fun. It's going to contain recipes, us. It has to, or else it wouldn't be a session. And we'll continue to do that, because we have had a lot of fun with Miro in the past. A lot of fun. So thank you for asking for that. Looking forward to it.
Perfect.
Righty. Well, Cathy, thank you for letting us get to know you more, and for everything that you do. You definitely shine a light out there, and we appreciate you, and we thank you, and so happy to have you on this episode of BA on the Streets in your hometown, or your area of Northville. And we look forward to the next session. And thank you to all of the wonderful guests that were able to join us and interact. And we wish you the best. And the chapters and IIBA are out there for you, and just let us know how we can be a best help for all of you. And thank you very much. And Aaron, do you want to wrap it up for us?
I think you just did. So.
Oh, okay. I consider it a wrap. Oh, that's a good recipe. Okay.
Yeah, thank you everybody for being here. Have a great week.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
And thank
Bye.
you, Cathy,
Bye, guys.
for being with
Absolutely.
us.
This was
Thank
fun.
you, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend.
You too.